The breaking point. Commander Diana Blackwood stood motionless before the massive holoscreen, her face illuminated by the ghostly blue glow of destruction. The medical vessel Mercy's light split apart in silent agony, escape pods firing in all directions like desperate seeds scattered to the cosmic wind. Her fingers dug into her palms until they left crescent-shaped marks, but she barely noticed the pain. "Replay the sensor data," she ordered, her voice steady despite the rage building in her chest. Lieutenant Marcus Way complied, his usual cheerful demeanor replaced by grim focus. The tactical display rewound, showing the Kraxan warships emerging from hyperspace directly alongside the medical convoy. No warning. No demands. Just immediate, devastating firepower targeted at ships marked clearly with universal medical insignia. 412 casualties confirmed, Commander, reported Chief Medical Officer Valentina Petrova, her accent thickening with emotion. Most of them were patients in critical care. The Kraxans knew exactly what they were targeting. The older woman's weathered face showed every one of her 30 years of medical service. They hit the life support systems first. Diana turned to face the assembled command staff in the briefing room of the UES Harbinger. The Kraxan Empire has crossed a line that cannot be uncrossed. They've attacked not just our people, but the very concept of mercy itself. She activated the tactical display, showing the current deployment of Earth's medical fleet. They believe that by targeting our healers, they'll weaken our resolve. They're about to learn how catastrophically wrong they are. Captain James Okonjo, head of ship security, leaned forward. High Command is preparing a conventional military response, but that will take weeks to organize. The Kraxans will have plenty of time to fortify their positions. "We're not waiting for High Command," Diana replied, her voice carrying the weight of decision. "Computer, display classified file Nightshade 1. The holographic display shifted, showing detailed schematics of what appeared to be advanced combat armor. Dr. Petrova's eyes widened. The Guardian suits. They're still in testing. The Medical Combat Integration Program had been developing the suits in secret, a fusion of cutting-edge medical technology and military hardware designed to allow combat medics to operate in the most hostile environments imaginable. "Testing just ended," Diana declared. "We're activating the Emergency Medical Combat Division. Every combat medic with advanced certification is being given the choice to volunteer." She paused, meeting each person's eyes. "We're going to show the Kraxans exactly what happens when you turn healers into warriors." The next 48 hours transformed the Harbinger's medical bay into something entirely new. Combat medics from across the fleet arrived in waves, each with the same steel in their eyes. They had all lost colleagues, friends, patients. The Guardian suits waited in their charging stations like silent sentinels, their white and crimson armor reflecting the harsh medical bay lighting. First Lieutenant Kira Patel, the Harbinger's lead combat medic, stood before her assembled team in the training simulator. "Everything we've learned about saving lives, we're going to use to execute this mission with surgical precision." The Kraxans thought targeting medical ships was strategically sound. "We're going to make them realize it was the worst mistake in their species' history." The training pushed them to their limits and beyond. The Guardian suits enhanced their natural abilities while integrating their medical expertise into every action. They learned to move as one unit, to strike with the same precision they used in surgery, to turn their deep knowledge of anatomy against an enemy. Diana watched the preparation from the observation deck, accompanied by Dr. Petrova. "Are we crossing a line here, Valentina?" she asked quietly. "Turning healers into hunters?" The chief medical officer was silent for a long moment. "There's an old Earth saying, the body heals itself through inflammation, through fever, through fighting back against what harms it. Sometimes healing requires destruction of what threatens the whole." She turned to face her commander. "We're not turning healers into hunters. We're expanding the definition of healing to include excising a cancer from the galaxy." As the deadline for deployment approached, Diana addressed the volunteer force. 36 combat medics stood before her in their guardian suits, the most lethal lifesavers ever created. Your mission is precisely targeted. You will infiltrate cracks in space and neutralize the military leadership responsible for the medical ship attacks. This is not about revenge, it's about preventing further attacks on medical facilities across human space. You are still healers. Never forget that. But today, you heal through fire. The assembled medics raised their fists in salute, the gesture somehow more chilling coming from people trained to save lives rather than take them. The Kraxan Empire was about to learn that attacking humanity's healers wasn't just a tactical mistake, it was an existential one. Angels of Vengeance. Captain Renata Torres flexed her fingers inside the Guardian suit, marveling at how the neural interface translated her smallest movements into fluid motion. The advanced medical combat armor responded like a second skin, its systems integrating seamlessly with her trained reflexes. As the Harbinger's lead surgical specialist, she had spent years learning to keep her hands steady under pressure. Now those same steady hands were being repurposed for a very different kind of precision work. Neural calibration complete, announced the suit's AI, its voice a calm contralto in her ear. Medical systems online. Combat systems online. Integration at 98% efficiency. The heads-up display filled her vision with tactical data, vital sign monitors, and environmental readings. It was like operating theater displays mixed with military targeting systems. Around her in the Harbinger's transformed cargo bay, the other members of Strike Team Asclepius were running through their final checks. Each of them had been chosen not just for their combat medical expertise, but for their psychological resilience. They would need both where they were going. Lieutenant Marcus Way approached her station, his own Guardian suit gleaming under the harsh lights. Latest intelligence from deep cover operatives, he reported, transferring data to her suit systems. The Kraxan leadership is gathering for a military victory celebration on their capital world. Grand Admiral Vexthor himself will be present. Renata's jaw tightened. Vexthor had been the architect of the medical ship attacks, promoting the strategy as a way to cut off the humans' ability to prolong engagements. The intelligence feeds showed him proudly declaring it a masterstroke of tactical thinking. Time to teach them about the Hippocratic Oath's lesser-known combat applications, she muttered. The cargo bay doors opened, revealing Commander Blackwood and Dr. Petrova. The commander's expression was resolute as she surveyed the assembled strike team. Final mission briefing, she announced. Dr. Petrova has something important to share. The older doctor stepped forward, her face grave. We've decoded more data from the attacked medical ships. The Kraxans didn't just target them for tactical advantage. They're developing biological weapons, testing them on captured medical personnel. They want our advanced medical knowledge, and they're willing to torture our people to get it. A wave of controlled fury passed through the assembled medics. These were people who had dedicated their lives to healing, to preserving life. The idea of turning medical knowledge into weapons of mass destruction was anathema to everything they stood for. This changes nothing about our core mission parameters, Renata declared, her voice carrying across the bay. We're still surgeons. We're still healers. We're just expanding our definition of preventative medicine. A grim chuckle rippled through the team. The next 12 hours were spent in intensive final preparation. The Guardian suits were equipped with specialized infiltration modules, allowing them to mask their energy signatures and blend with Kraxan security systems. Each team member carried a full complement of both medical and tactical equipment, much of it dual purpose. A neural paralyzer could incapacitate an enemy or stabilize a patient. Tissue regenerators could heal wounds or short-circuit security systems. Commander Blackwood gathered them for one final briefing before deployment. The Kraxans believe they've found our weakness by targeting our medical capabilities. They see healing as a vulnerability, mercy as a flaw to be exploited. You're going to show them that humanity's greatest strength lies in our capacity for both compassion and righteous fury. Dr. Petrova added her own words, her voice thick with emotion. You carry with you not just weapons and medical supplies, but the weight of what healing truly means. Sometimes a physician must cause pain to cure an illness. The galaxy has an illness, one that thinks targeting healers is acceptable strategy. You are the cure. The strike team boarded their stealth insertion craft, specially modified to penetrate cracks in defense grids. As the craft's engines powered up, Renata ran through final checks with her squad leads. Lieutenant Wei would handle infiltration and electronic warfare. Dr. Yuki Tanaka, their xenobiologist, would ensure their attacks hit cracks in physiology with maximum efficiency. Field medic Joaquin Ramirez would coordinate battlefield triage if things went wrong. As the Harbinger's launch bay doors opened to the star-filled void, Renata activated her team's combat neural link. Their heartbeats synchronized, their breathing fell into shared rhythm. They were no longer just individual combat medics, they were a single surgical instrument of justice, precisely calibrated and razor-sharp. Strike Team Asclepius, Commander Blackwood's voice came through their comms, you are cleared for launch. Remember your oath, first, do no harm. But remember also that sometimes, the only way to heal the galaxy is to cut out what poisons it. Godspeed, healers. The insertion craft slipped into the darkness of space, carrying its cargo of medical warriors toward Kraxan territory. They were angels of vengeance, armed with the power to both heal and harm, guided by the unshakable conviction that some cancers can only be cured through aggressive intervention. The Kraxans were about to learn that declaring war on humanity's healers wasn't just a tactical error, it was a terminal diagnosis. Heart of the Storm. The Kraxan capital world of Vexthorian Prime hung in space like a poison jewel, its atmosphere swirling with artificial storm systems designed to confuse orbital sensors. Strike Team Asclepius's insertion craft slipped through the atmospheric defenses like a virus penetrating a cell wall, using the Kraxans' own security protocols against them. Multiple biosignatures ahead, Lieutenant Wei reported, his voice calm in the neural link. Kraxan security patrols. Their new patterns matched the intelligence briefing. The team's Guardian suits automatically adjusted their thermal signatures to match the ambient temperature, rendering them nearly invisible to Kraxan bioscanners. Captain Torres watched through enhanced optics as a patrol of Kraxan warriors passed below their position. The aliens moved with a predatory grace, their chitinous armor gleaming in the light of 3 moons. Each carried weapons that seemed to be partially grown rather than manufactured, a disturbing fusion of technology and biological engineering. Dr. Tanaka, she sub-vocalized through the neural link, analysis of those weapons. The xenobiologist's response was immediate. Confirmed. They're using modified medical synthesizers as weapon platforms. They're not just stealing our medical technology, they're perverting it. The disgust in her voice was evident even through the filtered comm channel. The team moved through the capital's medical district like ghosts, their enhanced mobility systems allowing them to traverse the alien architecture without detection. The Guardian suits processed and analyzed every detail of their surroundings, building a real-time tactical map of Kraxan medical infrastructure. They reached their first objective, a secure research facility where, according to intelligence, captured human medical personnel were being held. The building's organic architecture pulsed with bioluminescent patterns, a display that would have been beautiful if not for its purpose. Multiple human biosignatures detected, Field Medic Ramirez reported, his medical sensors probing the facility. Vital signs indicate severe trauma and ongoing experimentation. They're alive, but... He didn't need to finish the sentence. The team's medical monitors told the full horror story. Captain Torres made a rapid series of hand signals, deploying the team according to their rehearsed battle plan. Remember, she transmitted, we're here to rescue our people and gather intelligence. Minimal casualties, maximum precision. We're surgeons, not butchers. The first indication the Kraxans had that their security was compromised was when their own medical systems turned against them. Dar. Tanaka's carefully engineered virus caused their biological security measures to identify them as foreign bodies, triggering an automated lockdown. In the confusion that followed, Strike Team Asclepius demonstrated exactly why turning healers into warriors had been the Kraxen's greatest mistake. They moved through the facility with surgical precision, their intimate knowledge of anatomy and medical systems allowing them to incapacitate defenders with minimal force. Lieutenant Wei interfaced directly with the facility's neural network, his guardian suit translating the alien code in real time. "Captain, you need to see this," he called over the secure channel. "They're not just experimenting on our medical personnel. They're trying to decode human medical technology because their own species is dying." The revelation hit the team like a physical blow. On the central research terminal, data scrolled past showing the truth: the Kraxen species was suffering from a genetic degradation caused by their own biological weaponry. Their attacks on human medical ships hadn't just been about military advantage, they were desperate attempts to find a cure. "This doesn't change what they did," Torres stated firmly, even as her medical training warred with her mission objectives. "But it might change what we do next." She turned to the rescued human medical personnel, their faces showing the signs of prolonged captivity and experimentation. "Are any of you able to confirm this?" Dr. Elena Rodriguez, one of the senior physicians from the destroyed medical ship Mercy's Light, stepped forward despite her obvious injuries. "It's true. Their entire species is experiencing a cascade failure in their genetic structure. They thought human medical technology could save them. But instead of asking for help, they chose to take it by force," Torres finished. "Believing that showing weakness by asking for aid would make them vulnerable." She accessed the command channel to the Harbinger. "Commander Blackwood, we have a situation that requires updated mission parameters." But before she could explain further, the facility's warning systems flared to life. "Multiple incoming signatures," Wei reported urgently. "Heavy combat units, headed straight for us. They know we're here." "All units, combat formation," Torres ordered, her guardian suit shifting seamlessly from infiltration to battle mode. "Protect the rescued personnel." If the Kraxens want to learn about human medical capability, they're about to get an extremely detailed lesson. The first wave of Kraxen elite guards burst through the facility's organic walls, their biological weapons already firing. Strike Team Asclepius responded with the calculated precision of battlefield surgeons, their attacks targeting nerve clusters and vital systems with devastating accuracy. As the battle erupted around them, Torres couldn't help but appreciate the irony. The Kraxens had attacked human medical ships out of desperation to save their species, and in doing so, they had brought down upon themselves the very force that might have been able to help them, if they had only asked. The Guardian suit's medical systems automatically adapted to the Kraxen weapons, developing countermeasures in real time. Every second of combat provided new data about Kraxen physiology, their strengths, and their weaknesses. They were learning even as they fought, their medical training turning the battlefield into one giant case study in xenobiology. "We need to make a decision, Captain," Dr. Tanaka called out as she disabled another Kraxen warrior with a precisely targeted neural disruptor. "This data about their condition, we could use it to force a negotiation." Torres ducked under a barrage of bioweaponry, her suit's systems identifying the composition of each attack. "First, we survive," she responded. "Then we can debate the ethics of healing those who attacked our healers." The battle raged on, but now every shot fired carried with it a new weight of understanding, and the possibility of an outcome none of them had anticipated when the mission began. Price of mercy. The command center of Kraxen High Command erupted in chaos as alarms blared through its organic architecture. Grand Admiral Vexthor's chitinous faceplates shifted in agitation as reports flooded in from the medical research facility. "How did they penetrate our defenses?" he demanded, his translator struggling to convey the complex harmonics of his rage. Meanwhile, Captain Torres and Strike Team Asclepius had secured their position in the facility's central laboratory, their guardian suits automatically establishing a defensive perimeter while processing the enormous amount of medical data they discovered. "Commander Blackwood, are you receiving this?" Torres transmitted, her voice steady despite the weight of their discovery. The encrypted channel crackled with static before clearing. "We're receiving, Captain. Our analysts are disturbed by the implications." Commander Blackwood's voice carried the same tension Torres felt. "The Kraxan genetic degradation is accelerating. According to these projections, their entire species has less than 5 years before total cellular collapse." Dr. Tanaka's fingers flew over the alien console, her guardian suit translating the complex biochemical data. Their attempts to enhance their soldiers with biological weapons backfired spectacularly. Each generation is born with more severe genetic damage. They're literally watching their children die from their parents' mistakes. A massive explosion rocked the facility. Lieutenant Wei's tactical display lit up with new threats. "They're bringing in their elite guard. These ones are different." He paused, analyzing the incoming data. "They're using experimental gene therapy to stay alive. Walking medical experiments." Torres watched through the facility's sensors as the enhanced Kraxan warriors approached. Their bodies were twisted by desperate attempts at genetic modification, their armor fused directly into their flesh. They were the living embodiment of the price of the Kraxan's militaristic pride. "Captain," Dr. Rodriguez spoke up from where she was treating the other rescued medical personnel, "I need to tell you what I learned during my captivity. The Kraxan leadership, they're keeping the full extent of the crisis from their own people. The general population doesn't know they're doomed." Field Medic Ramirez turned from his defensive position. "That's why they attacked our medical ships. They needed our regenerative technology, but they couldn't admit weakness by asking for help. Their entire society is built on the idea of strength through conquest." Another explosion, closer this time. The elite guard was getting closer, their enhanced bodies pushing through barriers that would have stopped normal soldiers. Torres made a decision that would alter the course of 2 species. "Commander Blackwood, requesting new mission parameters," she transmitted. "We have the ability to force a species-wide medical crisis into the open. The Kraxan leadership is sacrificing their entire civilization to maintain the illusion of strength." There was a long pause on the command channel. When Blackwood responded, her voice was thoughtful. "The original mission was to make them pay for attacking our medical ships. This could make them pay in a way we never anticipated. Proceed with your recommendation, Captain." Torres turned to her team. "New objective. We're going to perform emergency surgery on an entire civilization." She outlined her plan quickly, even as the sounds of battle drew closer. The team's expressions shifted from surprise to grim understanding as they realized what she was proposing. "We'll need to reach their planetary broadcasting network," Wei said, already working on infiltration routes. "Their entire communication system is biotechnological. One connection point and we can spread the truth through their whole empire." "Like a viral infection," Dr. Tanaka added, "but carrying medical data instead of disease. Every Kraxan citizen will know what their leaders have done, and what it's costing them." The team moved out, fighting their way through the facility with renewed purpose. The elite guard they encountered were no longer just enemies, they were symptoms of a deeper disease, one that had infected the Kraxan Empire at its highest levels. They reached the broadcast center just as Grand Admiral Vex Thor's voice echoed through the facility. "Humans! You dare to invade our sacred medical temples. Your corruption will not touch our purity." Torres activated her suit's external speakers, her voice carrying to every corner of the facility. "Purity! Look at what you've done to your own soldiers, Admiral. Look at what you're doing to your entire species. We came here ready to execute a military strike. Instead, we're going to do what we're trained to do, heal the sick, even those who tried to kill us." The elite guard burst into the broadcast center, their mutated bodies testament to the price of pride. But they froze at the sight of the medical data now streaming across every screen, showing the truth of their species' condition. "This is Captain Renata Torres of the Human Emergency Medical Combat Division," her voice broadcasted across the entire Kraxan Empire. "Your leaders have hidden the truth from you. Your children are dying not from human aggression, but from your own leaders' pride. We offer you a choice: continue this war and watch your species end, or accept the help you should have asked for in the first place." The fighting stopped as the truth spread like wildfire through Kraxan communication channels. In the silence that followed, Torres watched as the elite guard lowered their weapons, their twisted bodies trembling with the weight of understanding. The price of mercy, it turned out, was pride. And as the Kraxan Empire faced this truth, the Guardian suit's medical sensors detected something remarkable: the first signs of healing in a wound that had festered for generations. Healing through fire. 3 days after the broadcast that shook an empire, the Great Hall of the Kraxan High Command had been transformed into something unprecedented: a combined medical conference and peace negotiation. Captain Torres stood in her Guardian suit, its combat systems dormant but medical scanners still actively monitoring the room's occupants. Grand Admiral Vexthor knelt before the assembled representatives of both species, his proud posture broken not by military defeat, but by the weight of truth. "Our pride has brought us to the edge of extinction," his translator conveyed. "We chose to attack those who could have saved us, believing strength lay in conquest rather than cooperation." Commander Blackwood, who had arrived with a fleet of human medical ships, stepped forward. "The past cannot be changed," she stated firmly. "But the future is still unwritten. Dr. Petrova, please share your findings." The chief medical officer activated a holographic display showing intertwined strands of human and Kraxan DNA. "The genetic degradation can be halted," she announced. "Your attempts to reverse it failed because you were working with stolen, incomplete data. But with proper collaboration, we can develop a treatment protocol." Dr. Tanaka, who had spent the past 72 hours deep in research, added her analysis. "The Kraxan biological enhancement programs actually gave us the key. Your bodies are trying to heal themselves, but without guidance, the corrections are chaotic. We can provide that guidance." The hall erupted in a sound that the human translators took a moment to identify: Kraxan weeping. Generations of proud warriors faced the reality that salvation would come not through conquest, but through cooperation. Lieutenant Wei, monitoring communications across the Empire, reported a stunning development. Kraxan medical facilities are reporting spontaneous surrenders. Their doctors are refusing to continue weapons research, demanding instead to participate in the healing protocols. Torres watched as the elite guard units, their bodies testament to desperate attempts at survival, stepped forward to be the first recipients of the combined human Kraxan medical treatment. Their warrior code, it seemed, extended to being first to take risks, even the risk of accepting help from former enemies. "This is not mercy," Torres announced to the assembled gathering. "This is justice. The most profound punishment we could inflict on those who attacked our healers was to show them the true power of healing." Her Guardian suit's systems registered the impact of her words through the subtle changes in Kraxan biosignatures: understanding, shame, and hope all mixed together. Field Medic Ramirez supervised as human and Kraxan medical teams began working together, centuries of isolated medical knowledge finally combining. "Look at their surgical techniques," he marveled. "They've developed completely different approaches to cellular regeneration. Together, we could revolutionize medical science across the galaxy." The next weeks saw the establishment of the interspecies medical exchange protocol. The Guardian suits, designed for combat, were repurposed as interfaces between human and Kraxan medical systems. What had been weapons of war became tools of unprecedented healing. Commander Blackwood stood with Captain Torres on the observation deck of the Harbinger, watching as the first joint human Kraxan medical facility took shape in orbit. "When we sent you on this mission," she said quietly, "I expected a surgical strike against military targets. Instead, you performed surgery on the conscience of an entire civilization. Torres nodded, her expression thoughtful. They tried to turn healing into a weakness they could exploit. We showed them that true healing is the greatest strength in the universe. She watched as a group of Kraxan children, already showing signs of recovery under the new protocols, toured the facility under the guidance of human doctors. Dar. Rodriguez, fully recovered from her captivity, had chosen to remain on Vexthorian Prime to oversee the treatment programs. Their medical knowledge, combined with ours, is creating possibilities we never imagined, she reported. The Guardian suits are being modified to interface with Kraxan biological technology. We're not just healing their genetic damage, we're evolving medicine itself. The final piece fell into place when the Galactic Council ratified the new medical neutrality accords. No species, no matter how desperate, would ever again target medical facilities. The Kraxans, their pride tempered by their near extinction, became the strongest advocates for these protocols. As Torres prepared to lead the first class of combined human Kraxan medical students, she reflected on how the mission had transformed both species. The Guardian suits, worn now by practitioners of both races, stood as symbols not of vengeance, but of a harder path, the courage to heal even those who had tried to destroy you. First, do no harm, she told her students, human and Kraxan alike. But remember, sometimes the greatest harm comes from refusing to help. Our strength lies not in our ability to destroy, but in our choice to heal. In the end, the answer to violence against healers had not been more violence, but a more profound demonstration of what healing truly meant. The Kraxans had attacked human medical ships seeking to steal the power of healing. Instead, they had learned its true nature, not a weapon to be seized, but a gift to be shared.